All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 9 of the LineTime Sports UFC show. This is LineTime Rick at LineTime Rick on X, joined by my good friend, as always, the Hammer at LineTime Hammer on X. And don't forget, as always, follow at LineTime Sports on X. This week, we're going to be going over a fun weekend of UFC 295 fights. It definitely held up to expectations there. And then we're going to be going over the fights from this week and even talking a little bit about the Bellator event that they so badly market that is happening this Friday. I know, shocker. Nobody knew. I just found out about 2 hours ago. So let's get right into the recap of 295 here. Like I said, from top to bottom, I mean, especially in the main card, it was amazing. It was full of finishes. Every fight on the main card was a finish. We'll start with the main event. There's a new light heavyweight champion, and his name is Alex Pereira. And I saw it. I kind of agreed that the stoppage was kind of controversial. Yuri seemed to have a little bit of life when he knocked him out. He was on the ground. He was kind of fighting back to his feet in a way. It seemed that is if I think it was Keith Peterson. It seemed that if he left it go, or maybe it was Mark Goddard, my bad. But either way, it seemed that if he had let it keep going, that Alex was eventually going to finish in that sequence. The leg kicks were killing Jiri. His leg was black and blue by like the third leg kick. You saw it start giving out. But Jiri also he stunned Alex a couple of times. Even in that second round, he had Alex backing up against the cage, and that's kind of what transitioned into Alex's finish. It was a fun fight. Alex really is that dude. You heard him call out Israel Adesanya again, come to daddy. And then you heard Joe Rogan kind of ask him about Jamal Hill. What are your thoughts on the future for the new light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira?
Um, well, first of all, yeah, we kind of knew that was coming with the leg kicks. Like that was going to be his way to kind of stop Jerry's movement a little bit. He is just so good with this, man. Like we said in the podcast a week ago, there's just no load up there. He literally just picks you apart with those leg kicks. He doesn't throw much. Like he was doing a lot of jabbing. He wasn't really throwing that right hand. He was just kind of picking them apart with the leg kicks, jabbing them. And yeah, Jury was doing well, but you could tell, man, like his leg was giving out like even after like 4 or 5 leg kicks. It was really affecting him. But yeah, it was a great fight. Jury did well on the feet too. Like he was landing a lot, but Pereira just has such a solid chin, and he just keeps digging with his leg kicks. But I mean, he should fight Jamal Hill next. Like that's the fight to make, in my opinion. It was kind of weird to me that he called out Izzy. I mean, I get that he has lost. Well, yeah, I get he lost to Izzy his last fight or whatever. But I mean, he's beat him once in MMA and then 2 times in kickboxing before that, so I thought it was a little strange for him to call out Izzy, especially after Izzy said he's gonna be on the shelf for a little bit, but, yeah, I think Jamal Hill is the fight to make. I think Jamal Hill deserves it. Like, he vacated the belt, after getting injured like a true champion should, like, not hold up the division, so,
Yeah, and I think Alex versus Jamal kind of like finishes off the revenge Glover revenge arc. You know,
yeah,
he revenged him against Jiri, and now he needs to avenge him against Jamal.
yeah.
I agree. It's kind of weird that he called out Izzy, but you know they have such a history. I think that man wakes up just fiending off the hate of Israel Adesanya.
Yeah,
I
for
think it's
sure.
pretty entertaining. But yeah, you're right. I mean, even Dana White was like, yeah, if Israel wants that fight, he'll have to come and fight in 205 once, get a win to even consider that. I mean, that division
Yeah.
just all clogged up. We have Blachowicz versus Rakic coming up, and I mean, it would make sense for Pereira to rematch Blachowicz since that fight was so close, their first one. So I think that division, I think it's a good thing the Pereira won. I think we'll see Jiri back sooner than later. Uh, that division is turning into a lot of fun. It's about as fun as it can get ever since we saw John Jones and Stipe, or sorry, John Jones and DC going at it,
Yep.
however many years ago. Going into our co-main event, there's a new interim heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall. He knocked out Sergey Pavlovich in the first round. That was another interesting fight because Sergey hit Tom Aspinall pretty early, and you could see like Tom felt his power. He
Mhm.
recognized it, he respected it, and as soon as he hit him, it was almost like he upped the tempo, and he was like, "Okay, I gotta do what I do best and work fast, effectively, and hard to finish this fight. Because if he hits me one or two more times cleanly, like he did, I could be going to sleep." And he pulled doing a reverse card and he put Sergey to sleep. That was a good fight. I doubt that we ever see the unification fight between John Jones. I don't. I mean, John pretty much made it clear that he didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall or Sergey. I mean, he kind of wants to fight Stipe and go off into the sunset. What are your thoughts about
Mhm.
that fight?
Well, I didn't like it because my best bet was, for it to start the second round, but I mean, I was feeling pretty good after, Aspinall took that first shot from Sergey, to be honest. I was feeling pretty good because he felt the power. He definitely was stunned slight bit, but he wasn't rocked, he wasn't wobbled, so and like you said, he respected the power coming back at him. So I was feeling pretty good, but there was a evident speed advantage for Tom Aspinall in that fight. And yeah, and you could tell Sergey didn't respect Aspinall's power at all. And yeah, I mean, I really didn't see Aspinall finishing him in the first round. I thought if he did win the fight, it'd be second, third round, you know what I mean? But yeah, I thought if it ended in the first round, it would be Pavlovich knocking him out. But yeah, it was a good fight for how long it lasted. Not very long, under 2 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it was a really good fight. Great showing for Tom Aspinall to put Pavlovich out like that. No one's done that to him before. So yeah, great win for Tom. I'm excited to see what happens next in that division.
Yeah, and we saw Aspinall after the fight. He said that he was dealing with back strain or he pulled his back and that he wasn't able to train for like a week and a half up to the
Yeah, like
fight. So
right before the fight, right? He said he didn't train like 10 days before the fight. So yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
interesting.
it's definitely super impressive. Like you said, there's a lot of opportunities for him to make some big fights with Tom Aspinall. I don't see the John Jones fight ever happening, but we'll see. We'll let time kind of play a factor in that one. But like you said, your favorite pick was for that fight to start the second round. But this next fight coming up, this is the only other fight on the main card that made it out of the first round, and that's Jessica Andrade and Mackenzie Dern. Man, Mackenzie Dern. I mean, first of all, if you guys listened to our podcast last week, me and the Hammer pretty much predicted this one to a T. Like we could not have said it any better. Mackenzie Dern, she couldn't get the fight to the ground because her takedowns are not good, and Jessica Andrade kind of just beat her up. I mean that's what kind of what we expected. The first round, that's kind of how it went. Although Andrade has this knack of leaving her chin in the air, Mackenzie
Yeah,
Dern does it worse. I mean, she
yeah.
was
I was
stepping
just gonna
straight up.
say like Andrade was literally she was making me a little nervous just because the fact like she was kind of resorting back to that rushing you and trying to hit you with that big shot, but she wasn't phased by any of the power coming back at her. I mean, Dern doesn't have great power. The only takedown she landed was a trip situation, like we said. Like that's really the only time she would have success with her takedowns. I'm pretty sure Andrade clinched her, tried to land some punches, and then it was a great trip. It was a very nice trip, but other than that, her outside takedowns were not good. She just really doesn't have good wrestling to get it down there, and yeah, she was landing some good punches. I'll give her that. Like that first round was very close, but Andrade was able to knock her down. I think twice. I don't know if they ruled the first one a knockdown. It was a very quick knockdown. It was kind of like a flash knockdown, but I think it was two knockdowns. So I mean, I would have gave Andrade that first round, and then the second round, man, she was just hitting her with shot after shot, and the power difference was just so much. And yeah, we expected it. And yeah, I mean, I'm just a little bit mad at myself for not putting more on Andrade. Like that was just I feel like that was it. Like we said, I thought it felt like it was a gift from the books for her to be plus 164 when it opened, and then I think she got up to all the way up to like plus 190 before fight time fight the fight started. So yeah, I mean, pretty much how we expected it to happen.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Andrade came out and did that because I mean, again, once that fight got to the ground, that could have gone very sour for Andrade. Thankfully, though, I mean, and
Yeah.
every time Andrade knocked her down, Mackenzie Dern to be on the back, kind of
Yep.
inviting her into the guard. And thankfully, Andrade knew better than to stand her back up and say, "Listen, this fight is mine if we're standing on the feet." So. Really good performance from Andrade. Although I do think that for Mackenzie Dern, that was about as bad as a showing as she could have. In the fact that
Yeah.
she was pretty close to pushing towards a title shot, and now it's like even Joe Rogan during commentary, he was saying like it's really like odd to see a contender of this caliber that's on this kind of rise have this kind of defense against this level of striking. Like it was really suspect. It was really bad. So we're gonna go into this next fight too. Benoit Saint Denis, man, he's a problem. He got a round one head kick knockout against Matt Frevola. Um, I think Benoit Saint Denis is all the way up to 11 in the rankings on lightweight.
Yep.
he's going to be a problem. He has that power and with the kicks, with the fists. He's scary. And Matt Frevola, I mean, we talked about how good Matt Frevola was. Me and you saw the value in taking Matt Frevola even. Uh,
Yeah.
and Benoit Saint Denis, I mean, he almost made it look easy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, for Vola, that was like a weird knockout because like he circled right into the kick, and I was just like, as it was happening, like I know as like a spectator, it's a lot easier to see than an actual fighter being in there, but like he circled right into the kick, and he said after the fight, he went on Twitter and he like had a long like just like breakdown of the fight, and he just thought he was out of range pretty much. Like the way he was circling, he thought he was just going to be out of range of the kick, which I can understand because it was like you don't really see Benoit throw kicks. Like I've never really seen him throw many kicks before. So yeah, it was a great performance by him, man. He has pretty insane power. I'm excited to see what happens next for him. But I think Frivola will bounce back too. He's a solid fighter. He's a very good competitor. So I think he'll have a good showing his next fight. Tough night for him, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens to the best of them.
Yep.
Going into this last fight on the main card, I think we might have a star in the making, and I just want to preface this by saying, Diego Lopez, if you hear this, I'm sorry for calling you weird looking. You are not weird looking. You're beautiful. You are a stud, my friend. He had the huge knockout win in round one over Pat Sabatini, big underdog win. That was nuts, man. I mean, I was kind of writing him out in that fight, but I didn't see it being a knockout. If anything, I thought that maybe he could get a submission win, but he knocked him out, and he knocked him out good.
Yeah, he had the advantage on the feet, which I like did kind of expect a little bit. I liked Sabatini's experience with a little bit more high level fighters. Like the only fight Lopez had in the UFC before that, I'm pretty sure was Mozar Evilov, which he's a great fighter. But yeah, I just thought the experience would be a little bit too much. Like my heart was telling me to take Diego Lopez, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I thought, yeah, like you said, if anything, he could catch Sabatini in one of those like quick guillotines or throw up like a quick triangle or something to get him. But yeah, he looked really good, man. His stand up's pretty solid for being that high level on the ground. So yeah, I think he has a bright future out of him.
Yeah, I agree. And now I'm just gonna run through a couple of these prelims. We got Steve Urseg. He cruised to a decision win over Alessandro Costa. That was one of the more boring fights, but still a good win for Urseg. Lupi Godinez wins a split decision win over Tabitha Ricci. I just want to say that
That was
30-27
horrible.
card for Tabitha Ricci might be the worst scorecard I've seen this year, maybe my life. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just no chance he won all three rounds.
Yeah, yeah, I was pretty surprised when I heard it was like a split. I thought it was pretty obvious that she at least got 2 rounds, if not all three. So yeah, I was pretty shocked by that, especially yeah, just hearing Richie got a 30-27. I was like, oh my god, or yeah, Richie got a 30-27. I was like, oh my god, are they really gonna give it to her? Like that, this literally makes no sense to me. But luckily, the right fighter won. Like Gudin Gudinez definitely won that fight. So yeah, I didn't honestly, to be honest, I didn't. I think I missed the first round of that. Watched the second and third, but yeah, I mean, we kind of expected that, right? Like Richie's
Yeah.
Richie's solid, but she just she doesn't have a lot of power, and she does everything okay, is like way I describe her. She doesn't have it really anything like that's her bread and butter, like stand up on the ground. She has solid wrestling, all right on the feet, not much power. So yeah, it was good win for Loopy.
Yeah, good win for Loopy. Matus Rebecki, he made quick work of Roosevelt Roberts. We kind of
Yep.
saw that one coming, especially with the odds. He got a round one submission win. Another weird one was Nazim Sajikov and Vyacheslav Borshev. They drew. Um,
Yeah.
I will say that I wasn't completely in tune with this fight. I watched it, but I was kind of here and there watching it. But from what I saw, I thought that Nazim Sajikov was kind of running away with victory, and I didn't see a draw. I there's no way that in my head from what I saw those two drawing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I missed this fight uh in its entirety, but I was on Twitter like as it was going on, and a lot of people kind of just said that Sajikov kind of fucked himself in that third round, and that they did expect a draw to happen. But I can see the other side too because I didn't watch it. I think I ended up watching the highlights afterwards, but yeah, I mean, you just can't make a mistake like that in the third round, man. Like if it you can't leave it up to the judges. Like he won the first 2 rounds for sure, and if you get dominated in the third round, man, they can give it a draw. So yeah, get on Borshev for coming back there.
Yeah, and I gotta say I love their, post-fight little, duo of a victory. They both dance
Yeah,
together. So
yeah,
that was
that was
cool.
fun. That was funny.
And I'm sure we see this fight again down the line. It seemed like they were pretty, it was a pretty good fight. They'll probably redo that fight. We'll see how that one goes. And then the last fight we're gonna talk about was Jared Gordon and Mark Madsen. Jared Gordon got the round 1 knockout, against Mark Madsen, and that's kinda crazy because Madsen looked really good. He had a strong start.
Hmm.
He kind of was holding Jared Gordon at bay. Jared Gordon wasn't able to do what he wanted to do, and they got up close against the fence. And Gordon kind of showed him his power, and Madsen didn't react well. He went down, and the fight was over quickly after.
Yeah, it was a great sequence from Gordon to finish it off. Like you said, Madsen looked solid. I thought Gordon was gonna handle business pretty easily there, but yeah, he gave it a little bit of a scare in the first. Just wasn't really getting off, but yeah, put together a great combo to finish it off.
Yeah, and like we said, we cashed the Andrade money line at plus 164. We didn't cash the Pavlovich Aspinall to start round two. That was a plus 110. So we did go up a little bit.
Yeah, point 6 units. We'll
Yeah, we
take it.
take that. We take and like we said, we'll go into our favorite picks of this week once we get there. But we're just going to start with the main card and the main event for this week. It's the middleweight bout between number 10 ranked Brendan Allen and number 13 ranked Paul Craig. Paul Craig, the Bear Jew. Brendan Allen's coming in at minus 400. Paul
Great
Craig at a plus
nickname.
285. One of the best nicknames in fighting for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
hilarious.
Brendan Allen, he's coming off a round 1 submission win over Bruno Silva. Paul Craig's coming off a round 2 knockout win over Andre Muniz. Both good wins for the guys. I'm kind
Yeah.
of surprised to see Paul Craig at a plus 285. I can see Brendan Allen being the favorite, but a minus 400 favorite might be a little high for me. If I had to pick a side, I'm probably going to pick Brendan Allen, but I think for the value, Paul Craig at plus 285, the value is 100% there.
Yeah, I thought this was crazy to be honest. I'm not gonna bet either side here because I could see. I don't know. I mean, I think Allen probably gets it done, but yeah, if I would have made these odds, I'd probably put them at like a minus 200, maybe it's 2 to 1. Like I'm just very, especially because Brendan Allen does have a suspect chin, but I think the thing with that is Paul Craig doesn't really have much power. It's two very highly skilled jujitsu guys, so I can see it. I think Allen probably has a little better wrestling, so maybe he can take him down and control him there. But yeah, Craig is no slouch off his back. He can hit you with submissions off his back, so should be very interesting. Like Allen's got to be very weary when he gets him down because Paul Craig also has great jiu-jitsu, but yeah, should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight. Those bigger guys usually you think it's going to be a battle of the fist standing up, kickboxing. But for these guys, they both want to be on the ground. They want to showcase their submission game because they're both real good at it.
Yeah,
This co-main event too. I'll say in general, this card has a lot of really good prospects, a lot of younger
yeah,
guys, young up and coming fighters, and this is really one of them here. It's a welterweight bout between Michael Morales and Jake Matthews. Michael Morales minus 295, Jake Matthews plus 220. Morales, who's 15-0, he's coming off a decision win over Max Griffin, where he kind of just controlled that fight the whole time. And Matthews is coming off a round 2 submission, rear naked choke over Darius Flowers. Uh, Michael Morales, I really think he's the real deal.
yeah,
295, maybe a parlay piece. You throw him into something. You're obviously not going to take that straight unless you're throwing $300 on it to win 100. But I don't ever really recommend doing that. Uh,
yeah.
I do feel pretty confident in Michael Morales here, and that's not a knock on Jake Matthews. It's more that I think that Michael Morales is going to go very far. I think that he's 24 years old. He has a lot of room to grow, and he's already really good. Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I would put Morales in parlays. I think I honestly expected him to be like closer to like a minus 400 favorite, kind of how Brendan Allen is. And like you said, it's not a knock on Jake Matthews. I think he's a solid fighter, but Morales just has really impressed me. The thing with Morales is he really hasn't fought the top echelon of guys yet. Like, yes, he beat Max Griffin, which was like a solid test for him. but he did it pretty easily. He has a really good stand up. He's really fast. Jake Matthews has to kind of get this to the ground. He's got to wrestle him, and even if he does that, Morales has good submissions off his back. He gets up to his feet well, so it's going to be a tough fight for Jake Matthews. I really don't see that much of a path to victory for him in this fight, but hey, anything can happen.
Yeah, now staying along the prospect train here, it's the lightweight bout. Chase Hooper minus 235 versus Jordan Levitt plus 180. This is going to be Hooper's second fight at lightweight. He's coming up from 145, and he's coming off a decision win over Nick Fiore. And Jordan Levitt, he's coming off a round one knockout win over Victor Martinez, which is weird because if you've watched Jordan Levitt, you would never expect him to win a Biden knockout.
Yeah.
This is honestly, I was very close to picking Jordan Levitt as my favorite pick of the week at plus 180. It's not the fact that I think that Jordan Levitt is the easy pick here. It's more that there's no chance that he should be plus 180 and Chase Hooper should be minus 235. I mean, these guys are the same style of fight. They're guys that they don't have the striking to set up their takedowns very well, but they are going to shoot takedowns and they want it on the ground. They both want to have control on the ground and they want to beat you down there. They're not going to beat you standing up. They're not good strikers. I think that value wise, Jordan Levitt at plus 180 is 100% worth of the bet. I don't think that you should get near Chase Hooper at minus 235. Chase Hooper could definitely win this fight. Don't get
Mhm.
me wrong, but there's no chance he should be minus 235. None.
Yeah, I agree. I thought if he was the favorite, it'd be like a minus 140, minus 130 around there. But yeah, this one's interesting because they're both jiu-jitsu guys. But I will say, man, Jay Super's striking has gotten a lot better. And it's not to say he's a good striker now because he's not, but like from where he was when he started his UFC career, his striking was horrible. I think Jordan Levitt does have a wrestling advantage here for sure. I think he could take him down. Chase Hooper does throw up some nice submissions off his back, but I think Jordan Levin does a good job of controlling his the fighters. And I just think the one thing I will say with this, I do think Chase Hooper has the stand up advantage, and mostly because of his length and his reach. I think that could give Jordan Levin problems, and that could also give him problems taking him down. Man, like it's hard to take down some of those long fighters. There's like stringy fighters. They have that weird strength and stuff. But yeah, I think Jordan Levitt is gonna be able to at least get him to the ground, and that's gonna be what his game plan is. Yeah, I'm gonna be very interested to see how this unfolds on the feet if no one can get a takedown because I mean I think both fighters are gonna be looking for it, but I think Chase Hooper would be all right to stay on the feet here. I think that might be a little bit of his game plan, kind of jab him up a little bit, just stay at bay and try to point fight him because just he has that reach. But like you said, I don't think he should be that big of a favorite. Yeah, I think there's value on Levitt. I'm going to probably stay away from this fight just because I just don't like betting on these kind of matchups. To be honest, where I truly think it could go either way. But with me saying that, like, it makes sense to bet Levitt. If you think the fight's around a 50-50 fight, it should be a pick 'em and you're getting plus what is it? Plus 180 on Jordan Levitt. I mean, I definitely don't think it's a bad bet. So yeah, I'm interested for this one.
One kind of weird prop or say that I like in this fight is Jordan Levitt in the distance decision no bet. I think if Chase Hooper wins, it'll be decision, and I think that
Yeah.
if Jordan Levitt wins, there's a good chance it'll be by finish. Or if you just want the value, just do Jordan Levitt at plus 180.
Yeah.
These next two fights, they're a little weird. This next one, it's a bantamweight bout between Peyton Talbot and Nick Aguirre. Peyton Talbot is minus 670, making his UFC debut, and Nick Aguirre is plus 430. Talbot 6-0. I think he's 24, 25 years old. We saw him on the Contender Series not too long ago. We actually talked about him for a little bit on here. Uh, he's coming off a decision win in the Contender Series over Reyes Cortez, and in that fight, he was losing in the first round, and then he
Hmm.
came out in the second and third rounds, and you saw the heart on full display. I mean, you saw how good of a striker he couldn't be. I mean, there's a lot of room for growth. I think they said during the broadcast of Contender Series that he had not been training for a super long time. I think he's a Las Vegas native as well, Reno, Las Vegas. Uh, Six minus 670 is a little crazy. Aguirre, he's coming off a decision L against Dan Argueta in his UFC debut. I think it was on short notice. But Aguirre is 7-1, and at a plus 430, there's probably value there. I think that this is a fight that, like, I myself, probably you, and probably everybody listening should just stay away from. Watch. It seems like they're trying to set up Peyton Talbot here to be a bigger name. It seems like this is a fight they're giving him to kind of build himself a reputation. We see it
Mhm.
all the time in the UFC where Dana throws, easier fights for these guys that he's fully behind becoming bigger stars. So it's just one of those. Here it is, there it is. Watch it as a fan fight. And then this last fight on the main card, it's a women's strawweight bout against the number 9 ranked Luana Pinheiro versus the number 10 ranked Amanda Ribas. Pinheiro is coming in at a plus 200 and Ribas a minus 265. Pinheiro, who's coming off a decision win over Michelle Waterson Gomez. Ribas coming off of a second round knockout loss against Macy Barber. Again, this is another one where I probably side with Amanda Ribas, but at minus 265, there's just no chance that I'm going to be playing that because Luana Pinheiro, she's aggressive. She has a little bit of power in her hands. And like I said, you saw Amanda Ribas getting knocked out by Macy Barber. And I'm not going to compare Luana Pinheiro and Macy Barber because I think Macy Barber is a future title contender. I don't
Mhm.
know about Luana Pinheiro. I don't see the value betting Amanda Ribas here at minus 265. And I think it's pretty bold to bet Pinheiro at a plus 200.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from this one as well. Just like you said, my first thought was I was really surprised to see Reboss be that big of a favorite. I just don't think she's that good, to be honest. Like she has a big following. Like I love like her personality. She like and all that stuff. But she makes a lot of mistakes in there. She leaves her chin up. Just like someone I don't want to necessarily get behind. But I think Reboss most likely won this fight, and her path's going to be taking her down. I think on the feet, she's going to be outmatched power wise. Sh she got knocked out her last fight. I hate betting on people that just got KO'd their last fight. So, yeah, I was pretty shocked to see these odds, but at the same time, I don't think I'm necessarily going to bet Pinera. I just think this is most likely a stay away fight. A lot of these fights to me are like there's a little bit of value on the underdogs, but it's just like not enough for me to get involved in a lot of them. To be honest, I could see a lot of favorites getting it done on this card. To be honest,
Yeah, for me, this is one of those cards where face value, it might not look like the greatest, most exciting card, but I think we're going to see a lot of good fights.
yeah,
It might not be the best for betting. Admin Oscar, do you have the odds for this women's fight to go the distance? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that it's around minus 350, minus 400.
I think it is around at least minus 300. To be honest, I think I
So
looked at this.
maybe you throw that in a parlay, like say with Michael Morales, who me and you seem to both like a lot. It's just picking a side in this one. Like I said, like you said, even it's probably Amanda Ribas who wins this fight, but Luana Pinheiro definitely has a potential to come and upset her at this minus 265. So you kind of got to pick and choose your sides on this one. I mean, like I said, distance probably will happen. I think
Yeah,
it'll probably be a distance win for Amanda Ribas. It's just the odds they're not justifiable. It's kind of the same with like Brennan Allen. I think Brennan Allen's probably going to win, but at minus 400, not worth it.
yeah, I
It's
Yeah, so this one to go the distance is minus 200. If you want to do reboss by decision, it's minus 115. Pick up
okay.
a little bit of that juice, but yeah, just for the fight to go the distance is minus 200.
Yeah, so parlay in the distance and Michael Morales. I mean, that's pretty decent odds. It's going to get you pretty close to even money or reboss by points. I like that too, plus 115. So we're going to take a quick little intermission and then we're going to get into a couple of the prelims that we like. And then we're going to talk about what our favorite picks are for this week. All right, we're back here to talk about a couple of the prelims we like this week. First one's going to be a featherweight bout against Jonathan Pierce at a minus 138. And he's fighting Joe Anderson Burrito at a plus 108. Pierce, who's on a 5 fight win streak, he's coming off a decision win over Darren the Danger Elkins. Brito, who's coming off of a round one knockout win over Weston Wilson. I think that fight was on short notice.
hmm
I really like Jonathan Pierce in this one. Minus 138. I don't know if I'm going to play him at minus 138. Maybe take him straight, maybe put a unit on him. But again, he's a guy that I'd feel comfortable putting in a parlay, even at the minus 138, which is a good parlay piece because that's going to get you down. So, Joe Anderson Brito, he's pretty good. I just think that Jonathan Pierce is a really good wrestler, and I think that he's going to be able to get him down early and often and win on the ground.
yeah, I agree. I think if Brito has any shot in this fight, it's going to be in the first 2 minutes of the fight. That's where most of his wins are coming. Like he has a lot of first round finishes. I do remember, I think, I had, like, the one fight he had, I think it might have been his debut or his second fight, he fought Andre Fili, and I'm pretty sure I had Fili in, like, a parlay or something, and he knocked him out in, like, 40 seconds, so, I mean, he's an explosive fighter, but, as the fight goes on, his gas tank really isn't there. Like you said, I think Pierce is a very solid wrestler, he's good on the ground, he's good at controlling you, and he has high fight IQ, he's been in there with some very solid fighters, so I just think he knows his path to victory here is taking him down. Like I think he can do well on the feet too. It's just I think he knows where the danger is there with someone like Burrito. So yeah, I mean I'm not gonna I might play him to be honest, just a little bit, but yeah, don't think it's like a lock or anything. But I think he could be even a little bigger of a favorite, even like minus 170, maybe even 2 to 1. So I think it's worth a unit.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction when I was first kind of doing a little research on this card was I thought Pierce would be a little bit higher. It really makes me want to play him at 138. I'm honestly, I mean, I'm not going to give that out as my favorite pick. You know, if
Yeah.
you've listened before, you know that the Hammer and I, we like to give value with our favorite picks. We're not going to throw out minus 140s. It's just, it's not going to happen. But like I said, I think it's a good little parlay piece. Or if you want to play him straight, go ahead. Just not going to be what we consider to be our favorite picks. This next fight, I really like this fight. This is a bantamweight bout between Chad and Helger at plus 164, and he's fighting Jose Johnson at minus 215. And Helger is coming off of a decision loss to Alatang Healy, and Johnson's coming off of a twister submission loss to Damone Blackshear. And
Mhm.
that's a fine loss because we all know how good Damone Blackshear is. But
These
I
are
will
both
say
contender series guys, right?
they
Right?
are,
Yeah, that's
and
what I thought.
I'm pretty surprised at these odds too. There's a lot of fights on this card where it's skewed odds. I don't think that Jose Johnson should be minus 215 in any world. I mean, maybe a favorite, but I would have this pretty close to a pick.
Yeah, I was shocked to be honest. Jose Johnson really doesn't impress me at all. Like, and the main reason is like I've watched some of the contender series. I've actually watched a couple of his fights outside the UFC too, and like he does some good things for sure, but he doesn't have the best fight IQ, and I hate betting on fighters like that. Like he'll be looking good, and then he'll get taken down and not really fight off of his back, stuff like that. I think maybe the reason he is the favorite here and such a heavy favorite is I think because they think this is just gonna be a stand up fight. But and Hellinger has good stand up, man. Like he's been knocked out a few times, so maybe that's where they're getting that. But I just don't think I just don't think the guy he's fighting has enough power to put him out, to be honest. Like I think he has decent stand up, he has a good jab, he moves pretty well, but yeah, I just think it's gonna most likely be a kickboxing fight, and maybe Ann Helger comes out there and wrestles a little bit, and knows that's his weakness. Like, who knows? But yeah, like you said, I thought this would be for sure around to pick him.
Yeah, and I think maybe another reason why it isn't a pick 'em and why Jose Johnson is such a big favorite is because size. I think Jose Johnson's like 6 foot, and I think he has like
Yeah,
6 or 7 inch reach advantage. But in that sense, the amount of times that we've seen the smaller guy with the littler reach win,
yeah,
I don't take that into that much of a consideration to have it all the way up to a minus 215 and have it and Helger at a plus 164. Um, we'll talk about this fight a little bit later. A little bit of a spoiler there,
yeah,
and we'll get into this last prelim here. This is another fight. Honestly, for this caliber of a card, which is not so great, this is a pretty decent prelim. This is a lightweight bout between Trey Ogden at plus 114 versus Nicholas Moda minus 146. Ogden's coming off a decision loss to Ignacio Bahamondes, and Moda's coming off of a knockout loss to Manuel Torres. A little bit surprising to see Ogden at an underdog here. Ogden, I feel like is just from who he's fought before, maybe not even wins, but like experience wise, Ogden's been in there with some pretty decent guys. Moda probably has the advantage, I guess. But I again, this is probably a fight I'm going to be watching from the sidelines. I don't think I'm going to play anything. Maybe out there at dart on Trey Ogden at plus 114, just a little bit of plus money, but I doubt it.
yeah. Moda's interesting. Like I know, he hasn't like he's had a lot of cancel fights recently. I think he's 1-1 in his last, or he's yeah 1-2 in his last three fights. He was like, I remember he was a decently big favorite over Jim Miller when they fought, and I was pretty shocked to see that. And I'm pretty sure he got knocked out, maybe got submitted, but
I think you're right. I think he did get knocked out.
Yeah, he got right hooked. Yeah, he's okay. He's solid. I think he probably wins this fight, but that's more because I don't really think Trey Ogden's that good. I mean, he lost to Jordan Levitt, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, Jordan Levitt's all right, but like, I don't know. A lot of that Jordan Levitt fight was on the feet. So you really, you didn't really show me that much on the feet. I think Ogden probably has to get this fight to the ground to have a chance. I think Moda is the better striker. Ogden might have a little bit of reach, which could help him, but yeah, I don't really have a play in this fight. I might throw Moda in a parlay just because I don't think Trey Ogden's very good, but pretty much all I have on that one.
Yeah, and that's gonna do it for our preview on this card. It's not the greatest looking card, but like I said, a lot
No.
of these cards usually end up being fun to watch. There's a lot of prospects up on the main card, so we'll get into our favorite picks here, and I'll just start right off with mine. And that's gonna be Chan Alhajar, money line plus 164. Like I said, he's got a lot of power. I don't really care that he's a smaller guy. Again, I don't think it's worth what the odds are at. I think 164 to get Anheuser in this fight is really good value. I think that he's going to be able to get inside and hit Jose Johnson pretty hard, or like you said, he'll get it to the ground, and because we know that that's Jose Johnson's weakness. I think that the value's there for Anheuser. Last week we had a plus 164 with Jessica Andrade, so I'm going to keep that trend going here.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Just like you said, man, I think there's just a lot of value there on Anheliger. I think that's a good pick. For my favorite pick, I am going to take. I kind of don't want to do this again because I just lost on a round bet, but the week before we had one, I like this at plus 125. I'm gonna go Brendan Allen and Paul Craig to start round three at plus 125. Main reason is just the matchup of it. First of all, I think it's both of their first main events in the UFC, so it's gonna be a 5 round fight. I think both guys are gonna be looking to pace themselves early on. And the other main reason is the thing that it's a little scary about is Brendan Allen definitely has a suspect chin, but I like it here because Paul Craig doesn't hit very hard. He's not that good on the feet. I just think this is going to be, and I do, and that's the thing is like I think the first round might just stay on the feet before either guy gets like a takedown or whatever. But I think once it does hit the mats, that both guys are going to be well prepared, well equipped to deal with each other's submissions. So yeah, I really do like it. I saw it was like plus 410 to go the distance, which yeah, I mean it's plus 410 might not hit, but I think there's good value on that too. I think this could be a very back and forth fight. I think both guys can have gonna have their moments, but I just think this is a fight that I think it's gonna for sure get around three. Yeah, just neither fighter is that dangerous on the feet. And yes, they're both dangerous on the ground, but I think they're just both so solid on the ground that neither fighter is going to get many submissions off. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I like that plus 125.
Yeah, I do like that as well. I think that it's another one that I think they're going to be strategical. I think it's going to be a little bit of a chess match in the first round or two. And also, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think this is both of their first main events, so
I think
we'll
it is
see.
too. I
Yeah,
could
we'll
be wrong
see.
too, but I'm pretty sure that I can't remember either of these guys in a main event before. So maybe
And
the
I think
nerves get to them a little bit too.
maybe Paul Craig was in one. If one of them were,
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure Brendan Allen hasn't been. I doubt
Yeah.
that either of them. I'm pretty positive that neither of them have been in a main event. So yeah, I think that they might conserve their gas tanks a little bit, and they'll play it conservative in the first, even the second rounds. I do like that at plus 125, and I think the books like it too. I mean, having that at plus 125, I feel like in this kind of a fight, usually you would see it maybe even a little more juiced. So I think that they're afraid to give you the value there. I think that they think that it's going to get to round three, and I fully agree. I really like that pick a lot.
Yeah, I think to start round two is like minus 182. So I don't see it ending in the second round. But yeah, if anything, I think I might just lose this one quick somehow. But if it goes past the first 2 to 3 minutes, I'm pretty confident we'll get to round three.
Yeah, and I even like the value there in the distance. What, plus 410? I think that
Yep,
there's
I think
value
that's
there for sure.
I think plus 410.
All right, so before we get out of here, I mentioned in the beginning Bellator 301 is going to be this Friday, and again, Bellator, they are so bad at marketing their events, and it's frustrating because I'm going to read through this main card.
Yeah, it's
This
insane.
is it's insane. I mean, it's up there with last week's UFC 295 with the amount of good fights.
For sure.
Again, I'm going to read through them, and we can talk about one or two of them. We'll start at the top, go to the bottom. Main event's going to be the bantamweight championship match between Patchy Mix and Sergio Pettis. Such an amazing fight. Then we got a welterweight championship match against Jason Jackson and Yaroslav Amosov. And then we got a lightweight Grand Prix semifinals against Patricio Pitbull Freire versus Alexander Shalaby. Then we got a lightweight fight against AJ McKee and Sydney Outlaw, and a bantamweight fight against Rafion Stotts and Danny Sabatello. I mean, that is most of their big guns on one card, and they're just not marketing it.
It's insane. Like happens every big Bellator fight. Like you're just like, how is this not being talked about more? It's because they don't market fights well at all. Yeah, I'm super pumped for the Patchy Mix Sergio Pettis fight. Patchy Mix has just looked so freaking good, man. He's on a crazy win streak. I mean, he's like 29-1, I'm pretty sure, in his pro career, with only his only loss coming to a former champ and Juan Archuleta. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. And since Sergio has been in Bellator, he's looked great at 135. So should be very interesting. I mean, I just think this is a striker versus grappler matchup. But even with saying that, the Patchy Mix's stand up has looked so much better recently. He just got a first round knee knockout over Rafion Stellat. So yeah, it should be interesting. But Patchy Mix's bread and butter is wrestling. He wants to take her back and sub you that way. So yeah, this is gonna be a banger of a fight. And then yeah, I'm super pumped for the Jason Jackson Amosov fight too. Jason Jackson's a Sanford MMA guy. I mean, he trains with a lot of high level UFC talent. He's a great kickboxer. And it's another grappler versus striker matchup. To be honest, like Amosov has decent stand up, but he's gonna try to wrestle you. He's gonna try to get you to the ground. And Jason Jackson has showed a much improved takedown defense. So it should be interesting. I don't know what the odds are on that fight, but I'd assume Amosov's a decently sized
He's
favorite.
a minus 275 from what
Okay.
I'm seeing. Also,
Yeah.
I apologize. It is Patricky Pitbull, not Patricio.
Yeah, yeah. But tricky. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure the guy. I don't know if I watched the guys fighting that much, but yeah. And then AJ McKee versus Sydney Outlaw. I mean, Sydney Outlaw's fought pretty much like everyone in Bellator. AJ McKee being a former champion, one of the most exciting fighters in Bellator in general. And then we get a rematch of Rafion Stotts and Danny Sabatello. That was pretty. That fight was pretty weird. Like I think it ended up being a split decision, and I just didn't see it being a split decision. Rafion Stotts, I thought pretty much controlled that fight. I think Sabatillo might have got like a couple takedowns, but yeah, I was surprised that first one was a split decision. But it makes sense, man, because they both have been at the top of the division for a little bit now, and both coming off actually Sabaton might have won his last one, but Stott's coming off a loss. Like it was kind of hard to match him up with anyone else other than Sabatillo, and they have bad blood between them, so it makes sense that they're rematching.
I think Sabatillo might be coming off a loss. I think he was submitted by Megamed.
He might okay, so he's coming off. That
But
makes sense.
and I'm looking at the odds now. Stotts minus 170, Sabatillo plus 140. I think Stotts probably can ride the same game plan that he used in the first fight to get the win again. But I don't hate Sabatillo to plus 140. I mean,
Yeah,
Sabatillo is really good.
yeah, I definitely don't hate it. Yeah, I think this is like another one that's gonna get a decision. Um, Both fighters are solid, but like neither of them are that dangerous. Like Danny Sabatello is going to try to take you down and control you. Stotts definitely has the advantage on the feet, but Sabatello is getting better and he has very good pressure. He doesn't wilt when he's starting to get hit. Like he keeps that same game plan. He keeps coming forward. So yeah, it should be a good one. Great
Yeah, and
card. Great
Uh,
card in general.
Amazing card. I'm super excited for that main event. Pettis and Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is minus 275 favorite. A little bit
Wow.
surprising, I guess, but I mean, in the
Wow.
same sense, I think he's gonna win, but that's heavy.
Damn.
Like getting Sergio Pettis at a plus 215.
I think I have to. I love Patchy Mix.
I
I
know.
actually met him at a local MMA fight. Like 2 years ago. He was just there. I don't even know why he was there, but yeah, it was pretty cool. My brother was fighting and he came up to him, and my brother got a rear naked choke win, and he came up to him. He was like, "Nice rear naked choke," and my brother had no idea who he was. And then when I went up to him, I was like, "Dude, that's fucking Patchy Mix," and that was before he won the title and shit. But it was right before he was about to fight James Gallagher. But yeah, it was. He's a really cool dude. He's a great fighter too, but Sergio Pettis, man, that it's hard not to like him at plus 215 there, to be honest. Like I understand Patchy Mix is on an insane win streak, but stylistically, I think Pettis could do very well on the feet here, and I think he could stop a little bit of Patchy's takedowns. Like that's going to be the story of the fight, is if he can stop the takedowns, because Patchy's going to go balls to the wall, getting into the ground and trying to control him and finishing him that way. But like I said, don't sleep on Padgie's hands, man. He's improved that part of his game a lot. Just got a huge knockout win over Rafion Stott. So yeah, it should be a great fight.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at it face value before I was looking at the odds, I was all over Patchy Mix. I think that he's probably my pick to win the fight, but getting Sergio plus 215
Yeah, that's
because Sergio can win. I mean, he can win any fight he's in. That's kind of
yeah,
a Pettis brother trait. Their striking is amazing, next world. So, like I said, for fight fans, if you guys aren't doing anything on Friday, even if you are doing something on Friday, I highly recommend to watch this Bellator card, especially since we've heard the rumors of Bellator getting bought out. So it's really a possibility to see a lot of these guys moving promotions here in the very near future, and maybe a lot of them come over to the UFC. I mean, that would cause complete chaos. A lot of these guys, especially that are fighting this weekend, would be already top of the level fighting a lot of the big contenders that we're used to seeing on main cards, main events. So it's definitely interesting. I mean, from top to bottom, this entire card, this card, it's better than the UFC card this weekend, and there's no debate about
yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure. And it's just like doesn't get talked about or promoted at all. But I mean, it's like whatever. Like like they're getting bought out, so it's like how much are they gonna promote it? But this has been going on for years, man. Every time there's a banger of a Bellator card, like we find out about it like the week of, which
Yep.
just makes no sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
should be good weekend of fights.
So we'll do our work over here at Line Time to promote these fights for Bellator. You're welcome, Scott Coker. But anyways, thank you everybody for listening. It's been another fun week. We'll be back next week to recap the UFC fights. We'll probably recap these Bellator fights. We'll talk about how our picks did. I'm not sure if there's an event the week after. I don't think there is. So we'll have some fun questions from Admin Oscar, I suppose. And getting the thumbs up. So yeah, guys, thank you again for listening, and we'll be at you again next week.
Oh yeah, brother. I'll see you next week.
See ya, Hammer.